What's up, everybody? This is Leon, the Paperback Maniac. Hope you fine folks are okay. I'm okay. Actually, I'm more than okay. I'm pumped because tonight I'm going to be doing my third Paperback Horror Collection video. That's right, you know what they say, third time's a charm, and they may just be right this time because we are taking a look at my Pinnacle horror books. That's right, we just may have reached the pinnacle, folks. Now, Pinnacle was an imprint of Kensington Books. Kensington was a New York based publisher. They were known as, quote unquote, America's independent publisher. They also had a little imprint called Zebra under their banner. Some of you may have been familiar with them. For my money, Pinnacle had some of the absolute best cover art, bar none. They just had amazing artists. They really spared no expense in their production, their design. Fabulous, fabulous covers. Not only were their covers amazing, but also they just produced some of the most fun horror books of the 80s. I think if you're ever jonesing for just a feel good, comfort horror book, you really can't go wrong with Pinnacle. They really were, the top of the line, as the names would suggest. So without further ado, let's get to it. First book we're going to be taking a look at is Feast by Graham Masterton. This book was published in 1988, and that year is going to be cropping up quite a bit in this video. I think probably the vast majority of these books were published in 1988. This one has some amazing step back, if I can open it, cover art. Just look at that. Look at that cover. That is just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Love it. Absolutely love it. The next book is Schoolhouse by Lee Dwegan. Dwegan. I'm just going to roll with that. That is a really cool cover. I have not read this one yet, but as a teacher, I love any kind of book that has to do with school or teachers. So this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And then another book by Lee Dwegan. We've got Precog. This one was published in 1990. And then a third one by Lee Dwegan. We got Lifeblood. And this one was published in 1988 as well. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of 1988 here. These guys were really at their height in the late 80s. Oh, one more Lee Dwegan. I forgot about this one. We got Mind Stealer. This was published in 1990 as well. This guy's published just multiple books a year. It's incredible. Okay, the next one we've got is The Hunt by T. Lucien Wright. This was published in 1991. I really dig that cover. I mean, just look at the care that they put into the typeface, like that font, and it's it's embossed. It's just absolutely so eye-catching. I mean, it would be hard to resist this if you see this on a bookstore rack, I would imagine. I mean, I wouldn't be able to resist it. Clearly I couldn't resist it when I saw this thing. Okay, the next one we've got is Ghouls by Edward Lee. This one was published in 1988. This was the first book that Ed Lee wrote under this name. He had published a couple of books under the pen name Philip Straker, I think that's what it was, in the early 80s with Zebra, but he has since disowned those and doesn't really like to talk about them. I haven't read those. I'm kind of curious about them, but he kind of considers his career to have started with this one. He had taken a few years of a break, and I guess he claims that he learned to write, and he published this. I haven't read this one yet. I hear it's rather tame for Edward Lee standards, But I'm excited to read it because although I like some of his later kind of harder stuff, sometimes I feel like it's just a little too much. You know, I like his early 90s input though. Love Coven. Coven is just a blast. If you guys haven't read that one, that one really reminds me of like a fun, feel good, lighthearted late 80s, early 90s comedy horror. But yeah, this one, looking forward to checking it out. Okay, next up, we've got Chill number 4, Vegas Vampire. Here's a perfect example of a book that I would have never bought if I hadn't found this just randomly on a shelf in a bookstore. I think I was in some bookstore in downtown LA. I don't remember which one, but when I saw that cover and the name Vegas Vampire, I just had to get this. I have no idea what this is. It's fairly short. I do look forward to reading it. Okay, next up, we've got Azarias, or Azarias. I'm not sure. You know, I'm showing my ignorance here. This is by Sidney Williams. This one was published in 1989. And I kind of like that cover. Kind of simple and understated, but very effective. There with the spider-webbed glass. Cool look. Okay, next up, we've got The Gilgul by Henry W. Hockerman. This book was published in 1990, and then this one has pretty cool inner artwork there. Cool little hideous bride, or whatever. Looks interesting. Haven't read that one yet. I think that was one that was talked about in Paperbacks from Hell. It's probably like $1,000 now. Next up, we've got Family Closets by Marjorie Dorner. That's a really cool cover. This one was published in 1989. This was another just totally random find in a bookstore in Orange County. I just saw that and was attracted to that cover. And I thought, yeah, why not? Let's check it out. All right, next up, we got a couple from Ray Garton. This was Seductions. This was published in 1984. I love Ray Garton. You know, if I had to say, you know, like a top 5 authors of the era, Garton is definitely in that top 5 probably. This guy just wrote some really fun horror novels. Really just, you know, I go back to that word comfort. You know, it's like the equivalent of like comfort food or you know, like a comfort movie, like, you know, like Fright Night or something. This guy really, and he was a good writer too. He actually wrote really solid prose. Seductions, this was his first published novel, and it's one of my favorites. It's really, really fun. And I highly recommend anyone who hasn't read Ray Garton to definitely check him out. His second book, Darklings. This one's fun too. I didn't like this one as much as I liked Seductions. This one was published in 1985, the following year, and this is kind of fun in like an 80s creature feature sort of way. You know, think like Night of the Creeps, stuff like that. But yeah, good stuff. Can't go wrong with Ray Garton. All right, next up we've got, that's right, Vampire Beat by Vincent Courtney. This was published in 1991. I love how unabashedly trashy that cover is. And for some reason, I am really, really excited to read this book. This will probably be read fairly soon, and there will probably be a review of this up fairly soon. I don't know what it is. I love like genre mashups. You know, I'm thinking of movies like Dead Heat, you know, where you just take 2 different subgenres. So this one looks like it's, I don't know, like Miami Vice meets like a vampire movie or vampire story. It looks awesome. Looking forward to reading that. And then the follow-up to that one, I think this is the second one in that series, Harvest of Blood. This was published in 1992. Okay, next up, we've got Blood Beast by Don DeMassa. This was published in 1988 as well. Good old gargoyle horror. You gotta love that. Okay, next up, we've got Bloodthirst by L.A. Freed. That's a simple cover, but I dig that, and I really like, again, they just had just amazing, like, fonts. Like, the fonts were just really incredible. But, yeah, that looks kind of fun. I don't know. All right, next up, this is, probably one of the best covers. Dark Advent by Brian Hodge, published in 1988 as well, and it's got the amazing step back cover art. Very Goonies-esque. I'm definitely getting that Goonies vibe from that cover. Although I don't think the book is like that at all. But I haven't read this yet. I am looking forward to checking that out. Okay, next up, we've got The Shape Changer by Elizabeth Ergus. This was published in 1989. Just the attention to detail in these covers. I mean, I love the slobber there. It's so, I mean, these paintings were so photorealistic. It's crazy, like how the artists were able to do that. Good old Animal Attack. Actually, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you see these covers and they look like Animal Attack books, and they're not. It's just the publisher, being savvy and marketing. These guys are savvy marketers. Sometimes, you'd be surprised. So I don't know. This may be an Animal Attack book. It may not be. But either way, I'm excited to read it. Okay, next up we got a few books by R. Patrick Gates. I am a huge fan of this guy after reading only one of his books so far, his first novel, Fear, which I showed in my Onyx horror collection video. This is his follow-up to Fear, Grim Memorials. This is the reprint that Pinnacle put out in 2005. It was originally published by Onyx in 1990. The original artwork, I think, is a lot better. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I hear that it's even more insane and even gorier than Fear. And Fear was quite the splatterfest. But, I don't know. I'm just holding off. I don't know. You ever have that thing where you just know you're going to love something and you're just waiting? Like, I don't know. Just wait for a special time to read it, I guess. But I will definitely review that when I do finally read it. And then here is the sequel to Grim Memorials, which he wrote, later. This was published by Pinnacle in 2006, and I hear good things about the sequel as well. So that'll be fun to read eventually. Okay, then we've got Vaders by Mr. Gates. This one was published in 2007. Some of the reviews are pretty mixed on this one, but I'm gonna give anything this guy wrote a shot, and it sounds kind of fun in a cheesy B-movie type way. And the last one by R. Patrick Gates in this video, we've got Nowhere to Hide. This one I am very excited to read. I've heard really nothing but good things about it. I hear it's very Layman-esque in its pacing, and it's just like relentlessly brutal. This was published in 2008, so this is one of his later books. But yeah, looking forward to reading that one. Okay. All right, next up, we've got Deadly Sleep by John Applegate. I couldn't have a video without at least one teddy bear on the cover. This was published in 1988, and yeah, that is I could see that being quite frightening for a little child. If a little child saw this, a teddy bear holding a bloody knife in bed with bloodstains on the pillowcase. That's pretty nice. Okay, next up, look at that, 2 teddy bears in a row. We've got Daddy's Home by Paul Dale Anderson. And this one was published in 1990. I had never heard of this author before. I've been reading this anthology from like 1990 or sometime like that called Masks 2. It's been taking me forever to read it, but this guy had a really short story in there that was pretty cool. And then I was excited when I realized, oh, I have a novel by this guy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. All right, next up, we've got Bloodmaster by Mary L. Quijano. This was published in 1989. And, yeah, this one has really awesome step back cover art. Look at that. Look at that creature. That is just badass. I am super pumped to check this one out, despite its sole 1-star rating on Goodreads. I'm still going to give it a shot and hope for the best. Maybe that reviewer was just having a bad day. Maybe, he or she just wasn't feeling it. But yeah, I'm hoping it in some way lives up to that amazing artwork there. I mean, that creature just looks amazing. Okay, and then next we've got Monster by Dwight V. Swain. This was published in 1991. And this one also has a 1 rating on Goodreads, but it's a 5-star. So, we'll see. We'll see if that person was, on point with their rating. I'll be sure to share my thought. I'll be sure to share my thoughts after I read it. All right. Okay. Next up, we've got The 12th Child by Raymond Von Over. This was published in 1990. I love that little boy's expression there. That is just that's kind of adorable with his little fangs, little mini fangs, and little adorable little puncture marks in that neck. It's so cute. All right. Okay, next up, we've got Nightglow. I think I showed this in a collection video earlier. This is by Martin James, a.k.a. James Kisner, and it was published in 1989. Cool cover there. And then another one by Martin James. We've got Zombie House. This was published in 1990. All right, the last few here. Okay, we've got Brain Death by Sandra Wilkinson. This is another one published in 1988. Good old medical thriller. And then we've got Dead Man's Float by Robert W. Walker. This one was published in, well, of course, 1988 as well. All right, next up we've got The Spirit Stalker by Nina Romberg. This one was published in 1989. Okay, the penultimate one here, we've got The Burning Man by Michael Hammonds. This was published in 1991. It's like they're going for a Stephen King type thing there. So shameless. But that's a pretty cool cover. I like that. And finally, the last one. I always try to save an interesting one for the last one to reward you folks who have stuck around. This is The Midnight Hour by Donald Bacon, published in 1988. And no, it has nothing to do with the fun little made-for-TV Halloween movie, The Midnight Hour, from 85. This one has some pretty cool die-cut artwork there. That's just lovely, really cool. I've heard good things about this book, and I'm looking forward to reading that one as well. So yes, there you have it. those are my Pinnacle books. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did enjoy that, you may want to consider clicking subscribe, because that would be really, really awesome if you did. But if you're not ready for the commitment of a subscription, if you're one of these people who shies away from commitment, and I would understand if you are, then even a thumbs up would be cool, because we all need a little validation in our lives every now and then. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. But anyway, hope you guys have a great night, a great day, a great week. Keep an eye out for, of course, more reviews, more collection videos, paperback horrors, mailbox horrors. I can't talk anymore. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.